All right, so these are called, taking a page out of the FRC functional range conditioning methodology. It's basically working kind of the end range strength at the end, at the end range of your motions, all right, functional range. And it's really hard, it's really uncomfortable, it's not very traditional in the sense of like, your squat, lunge, hinge patterns, but it's really working in sort of extreme ranges of motions because it's hard to target that with traditional weightlifting. So these are really good accessory movement patterns that'll kind of help strengthen up the tissues around the joints and close to the joints, and if you add these in as like a warm-up or maybe a superset or a cool down, there's strategic ways in which you can place this into your workouts so that your mobility and you'll open up a little more range of motion, a little more stability when you're at the bottom of a squat per se. All right? Or if you're an athlete and you're playing sports, it's good to work these kind of things because you're always in weird positions when you're playing a sport. It's never as straightforward as a strength training powerlifting program. All right, so this one I've been working on, and I'm not great at it, but it's something that I'm working on just to kind of work and develop my hips and all the muscles that are around that joint. So pretty much what this one is I'm going to have you get into this nice 90-90 position, right? It's the same position that I had you guys do your pigeon or your glute stretch, right? But what you're going to do is you're going to stay nice and braced through the core, right? So really think about squeezing everything, create some tension basically all the way through your spine, because the idea behind that is you don't want to rotate and kind of open up or be loose through here. The more stiff you are here, the more you can kind of create tension in your hips and where you want to create tension. All right, so from this position, first thing I'm going to have you do is you're going to sort of press that knee into the ground, right? And what we're going to do is try and lift. It's called internal rotation of the hip. We're going to lift that ankle off the ground. All right, so basically, how far can you go? And we're going to hold that. In my position, I've seen some people where they're here and they're able to pull that up. For me, I have to kind of lean forward a little bit. I'm already cramping. But you gotta lean a little bit. Use your angles so that you're able to do this effectively. All right. So 5-second holds. I'm just gonna pull that ankle up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm gonna release. All right. What I like to do in between is I like to press my ankle and my knees into the ground and then sort of rotate back towards that, just to get a little bit of activation with the opposing muscles, and then I'll kind of rotate back around. I'll squeeze and then back into it. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then rotate that back. I'm kind of pressing into the ground with my knee and my ankle, right? Always controlling the movement, right? And then I'm gonna go back around. I'll do one more. Boom. Tighten the core if I'm able to, right? As you move along, you can maybe lean and get a little more straight, a little more upright. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. And boom. All right, so I kind of did feel myself opening up there a little bit, right? Just because that first rep I wasn't fully warmed up, but as those reps went along, I was able to kind of stand up and sit a little more upright. All right, so that's the other thing. That first rep, I would say always start a little more. In the extreme range, or give yourself a break a little bit, and then slowly work yourself to a more upright position. And that might take more than one day to do that, right? That might take, you might want to stay here for a couple weeks. All right, so yeah, so like my video cut off there on the last one, but that might take, when it comes to progression, right? Start with less intensity, right? That's what we're all, you know, and then work your way towards more of a higher intensity. When it comes to mobility, you know, higher range of motion is going to be a lot more intense. So start off with a little bit less range of motion and work your way up there. All right, so it could take a few weeks, right? It depends on how well you respond, where you're starting. You don't feel like you have to, you know, don't be impatient is what I'm trying to say. One way, and I'll show you actually a regression of this, and one that I use is I'll just use a yoga block. I have a sandbag, right? Whatever you have, maybe a couple of books, whatever it is that's going to allow you to kind of elevate your hip. Is another way to kind of make this a little bit easier. Is you're going to lay on it, boom, right? You're a little bit elevated from that, so it's not as an extreme angle of this leg. It's not as high. It's a little bit lower, and for me that opens things up, right? So same concept. I'll lean a little bit, but what that does, it kind of allows me, opens up a little bit more of an angle for me to pull that toe up or that foot up. So that's another regression you can do. That's not just you kind of leaning this way and leaning forward. All right, that way, if that does help, that's one way to make this slightly more comfortable, and a way to regress that movement. All right, so hope you enjoyed. You know, leave a comment if you have any questions. Peace.